On August 18th, a ghost from the Cold War reawakened. The massive, nuclear-powered battlecruiser Admiral Nakhimov slipped out of the Sevmos shipyard, returning to sea after 26 years of silence. To bring this steel giant back to life, Russia poured nearly 2 decades of effort and an estimated 200 billion rubles into its restoration. Russian state media celebrated the event with national pride, hailing it as the King's return. And on paper, the numbers are staggering. Displacing 28,000 tons, the Admiral Nakhimov is 3 times the size of an American Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. With 176 missile tubes, more than any other warship in the world, it has the firepower to obliterate any rival fleet. Russia now claims the title of the world's most powerful surface warship. Yet behind the spectacle lies a more sobering reality. While undeniably impressive, the ship is, in many ways, a beautifully restored relic. For the Russian Navy, the return of this massive vessel, even bristling with missiles, cannot overcome the deeper weaknesses of their naval power today. A ship born in the wrong era. The Admiral Nakhimov was launched in 1988 at the height of Soviet naval engineering. It represented the cutting edge of Moscow's maritime ambitions, but its timing was disastrous. As the ship entered service, the Soviet Union itself was collapsing. By 1997, a serious failure in its nuclear reactor crippled the ship. Just 2 years later, in 1999, it was officially retired, left to rust in frozen northern waters. If we define sailing as moving under its own power, the Admiral Nakhimov has not truly sailed in 28 years. The attempt to revive a giant. In 2008, flush with oil wealth and enjoying a brief thaw with the West, Russia decided it was time to revive its fleet. The plan wasn't just to repair the Nakhimov, but to modernize it for the 21st century. But upgrading a nuclear-powered Leviathan from the 1980s was no easy task. The collapse of the Soviet Union had destroyed much of the military-industrial base. Ukrainian engineers who once maintained the ship's nuclear systems were no longer accessible, now citizens of a foreign and later hostile state. Factories that once produced high-precision components had been dismantled or abandoned during the chaos of the 1990s. Even the knowledge of how to weld the ship's specialized steel had been lost, forcing engineers to rediscover techniques from scratch. As the head of Russia's United Shipbuilding Corporation admitted, we are practically rebuilding the entire supply chain. It is many times harder than building a new ship. It took 4 years just to finalize the refit plan. Real work only began in 2014, the same year Russia annexed Crimea, which triggered sanctions and cut Moscow off from critical Western electronics. Progress slowed to a crawl as engineers scrambled to find domestic substitutes. The ambitious modernization plan was revised again and again, not to improve the ship, but simply to make the project affordable and possible to finish. The saga dragged on for 17 years, with the construction phase alone lasting 11 years, longer than the ship originally took to build. And when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, military resources shifted to the war effort, delaying the refit by another 8 months. What Russia got for its effort? So what has Russia achieved after all this time, money, and effort? The Admiral Nakhimov now emerges as a colossal warship with a fresh coat of paint and 176 new missile cells, potentially capable of firing the fearsome Zircon hypersonic missile. But beneath the upgrades, its skeleton remains unchanged. Its hull and, most critically, its 2 KN-3 nuclear reactors are still products of 1980s Soviet technology. This is its fatal flaw. A technological ceiling that modern refits cannot erase. While the missile count is impressive, naval warfare today is not about sheer firepower. What truly matters is a ship's brain, its sensors, computing power, and ability to operate as a part of a wider network. The Nakhimov does carry a new phased array radar system, but it had to be awkwardly forced into a structure never designed to hold it. The result? Significant blind spots. More critically, its central combat computer system is outdated, unable to process the immense flood of data required for modern warfare. In a battle defined by drones, stealth aircraft, and electronic warfare, this weakness is crippling. It's like giving a man with poor eyesight a massive hammer. He has the strength to strike, but he cannot hit what he cannot see. A relic in a new era. Its nuclear power plant once promised unlimited range, but maintaining it is financially draining. Every decade, both reactors require full refueling, an expensive, complex task that strains the Russian Navy's limited resources. At its core, the Admiral Nakhimov reflects Cold War thinking. In the 1980s, its mission was clear: launch a massive saturation attack of anti-ship missiles, overwhelming a U.S. carrier strike group. Back then, it was a terrifying concept, but in today's world, dominated by satellite networks, hypersonic weapons, drones, and advanced electronic warfare, that doctrine is outdated. Modern naval supremacy depends on network-centric warfare, where ships, submarines, aircraft, and drones operate as a single interconnected web. Victory goes to the force that can see further, share information faster, and coordinate more precisely. By contrast, the Nakhimov is a lone wolf, powerful but isolated. Even with Zircon missiles on board, its outdated sensors and combat systems mean it cannot independently locate and strike targets at extreme range. A relic in a new era. Its nuclear power plant once promised unlimited range, but maintaining it is financially draining. Every decade, both reactors require full refueling, an expensive, complex task that strains the Russian Navy's limited resources. At its core, the Admiral Nakhimov reflects Cold War thinking. In the 1980s, its mission was clear: launch a massive saturation attack of anti-ship missiles, overwhelming a U.S. carrier strike group. Back then, it was a terrifying concept. But in today's world, dominated by satellite networks, hypersonic weapons, drones, and advanced electronic warfare, that doctrine is outdated. Modern naval supremacy depends on network-centric warfare, where ships, submarines, aircraft, and drones operate as a single interconnected web. Victory goes to the force that can see further, share information faster, and coordinate more precisely. By contrast, the Nakhimov is a lone wolf, powerful but isolated. Even with Zircon missiles on board, its outdated sensors and combat systems mean it cannot independently locate and strike targets at extreme range. Conclusion: a monument to the past. So, after decades of delays and astronomical costs, what does the Admiral Nakhimov represent? Not the future of naval warfare, but a beautifully preserved monument to the past. It consumed staggering resources and the focus of Russia's defense industry, yet it cannot escape the era in which it was born. Its journey, from Cold War pride to decades of decay to a painstaking resurrection, feels less like the dawn of a new chapter and more like a curtain call for a bygone age. As the battlecruiser sails once more into the northern seas, escorted by tugboats, it does not look like the ultimate war machine Russia proclaims. Instead, it resembles a perfectly restored Cold War souvenir, majestic, powerful, and undeniably impressive, yet ultimately a relic of a world that no longer exists. In today's age of networked fleets, carrier strike groups, and digital warfare, naval dominance is no longer won by raw tonnage and missile tubes. The Admiral Nakhimov may be beautiful, but it is a heavy dream from another time.